Actually, it's the first time we've had her, so I'm looking forward to it as much as you guys are as well. I spoke to her briefly tonight. It's going to be more interactive in the second portion of the evening. The first portion will be more of a presentation, and she'll be sharing stories and insights and various, techniques and experiences to ultimately inspire you guys and, hopefully transform your lives. So it's going to be a great night. She's an author, an inspirational speaker, an international businesswoman, and she's coming here tonight just to really share the love and share her wisdom. So let's give her a big round of applause. Denise.
Thank you very much, Steve. I speak to you tonight on a topic that I'm very passionate about. The power that you have, that we all have, to change our destiny. This is a topic that I've studied now for over 40 years. Time passes. Why? I guess because I wanted results different than the ones I had. I didn't like my results. Now, what results do you want today? Do you want to get another job, a better job? Do you want to increase your income? Are you looking to get wealthy? Do you want to free yourself from cigarette smoking? Anyone here wants to heal something? Whatever is your goal tonight, it's very important. People often ask me, but how? How do you do it? Like, there's a lot of books on theories how to do it. So all the stories I will tell you tonight is really to show you how, with my personal examples. So pay attention. In the stories, I'm showing you how. Has anyone here heard of the movie The Sixth Sense? Yes. It's a great movie. It's a story about this little boy everyone thought he was hallucinating. But he was really clairvoyant. He was having visions. And the psychiatrist that was helping him for his hallucinating problems, he thought, was getting discouraged. So the little boy at one point looked at him straight in the eyes and said, "Well, how can you help me if you don't believe me?" I feel this is like our little voice inside telling us, how can I help you if you don't believe me? Our little voice saying, how can I help you if you don't believe in me? So the book that I have written, it's called Create Your Own Wealth. You'll be able to purchase it here, the French version, Créez votre richesse. It's filled with practical tools to increase your faith and your motivation, because I feel what often stops people from changing their destiny or getting what they want is the doubts, the fears. Whether they get the fears from someone else or their own. But the doubts it's a roadblock. So my whole purpose is to increase your faith that it's possible. The purpose of my talk, purpose of my book. So I personally experienced what I wrote, and I wanted to talk about it to help you change your destiny, give you more faith that it's possible. So everything in life is a choice. How do we recognize those decisive moments? I said tonight I will talk about how do we recognize those decisive moments that you can really influence your destiny. So those are the moments where we choose to act on fear or on faith. So those are the moments of choice. So in life, we are presented with several of these moments. Sometimes we are not aware of it. We just ride with the moment. So to give you an example of story of acting or choosing between fear and faith, when I moved to Toronto, it was October '87. I had lived in Vancouver, spent 2 months in New York, and then came here in October, and I wanted a job. I was broke, living on borrowed money. Some of you that know me in this audience could attest to that. And I wanted a job before Christmas. I come from Gaspé Peninsula in Quebec. It's 10 hours south of Montreal by car. And there's no way I was going to go there without a job and broke. But anyhow, so what I knew about manifesting is I wrote all my criteria of the job, perfect job for me at the time, and I focused on that and enlisted the powers of the universe, the perfection to manifest in this situation for me, and trusted it was going to happen. So in November, now we're October, I had 2 months to manifest this job, right? You see, when we choose, we want our perfection, we want it in a certain time. The universe's time sometimes could be a little bit different. The perfect time is not necessarily our timing. However, I still wanted my time. So in November, because you see, when you borrow money to live on, and you're in a new city where you don't know many people, and you have to pay your rent and eat, so you get a little bit insecure. I do anyway. So I would apply to many places, not just the job that correspond to my criteria. Yes, I focus on what I want and I do all my mental and spiritual work. I'm still insecure. So I'm applying to all these other places also that don't correspond to what my criteria. So I get offered 2 jobs in November. I would call them like the better than nothing job. Better than nothing relationship, better than nothing whatever, right? So I looked at that. They paid decent money, not quite what I wanted. Then they were a secure job I would have had for years to come. They were. So I thought to myself, well, if I take these jobs, I'm going to be stuck in an office. I won't be able to apply to any other interviews to get what I really want. And worse than that, I'm telling the universe, I don't believe I can get what I want. And I'm also telling, I don't believe what I want exists. If I'm driving to the better than nothing situation, I'm sending a very loud message. So this is where the decisive moment. We're going to give you many examples of decisive moment because it's very important to recognize, do I act on fear there? Better than nothing, this is as good as it's going to get? Or on faith? And what is faith? Faith is taking a leap in the unknown, something I don't know, a result that I don't know, but I trust. And what do I do to build my faith? Everything you can. You know, some people pray. Some others, they use the spiritual mind treatment that I suggest. Whatever you need to do to keep your faith. Now, to keep your faith is different from one person to the next because it depends how your doubts level is high. Some people are very skeptic. They doubt everything. They're so fearful. So they're like the health. Everybody has different level of well-being. It's very personal. I'm not here to judge you. I'm just saying you do what it takes for you to get your faith level high so that your decisive moment when you want to change your destiny, you need to take a leap of faith. And the faith, a healthy faith. So anyway, I turned down the jobs. Now, what would most people do in a situation like this when they're broke, a month at Christmas time? What do most people do? So I dared to trust. Then came December. I'm offered a very good job with Toshiba. Keep in mind, I still have these applications that, that correspond and don't correspond to my criteria. Because I'm like, I want results fast. I always wanted results fast. I want everything fast. I'm not saying this is the way to go, but this is my way. So Toshiba is offering me a job that pays 50% more than what I want. This is great. I'm glad now that I turned the other one down. And so I accepted. I just overlooked one little thing. Is my criteria at the time that I was focusing on every day, because when we write things down, we want to manifest something, to create something or attract something, the same thing, change our destiny from what it's supposed to be, change the course. We have to focus on something else. So I was focused on my criteria, but I accepted this job. The criteria that was important to me at that time in my life was I wanted a job in the city of Toronto. I did not want to be a traveling salesperson. I changed my criteria over the years, but that was then. This job with Toshiba, because I was bilingual, I would have had to be in Quebec province 50% of the time. But yes, Christmas is a month away. It pays 50% more. I think that's as good as it's getting, right? So I accept the job. The universe is working for me because I did my inner work. I focus every day on it. It doesn't let me. You see, what we don't have in our mind, we cannot manifest in our lives. So if I have in my mind all these criteria that I want, it's not going to work to have something else. The 23rd of December, Toshiba phones me, Madame, we are retracting our offer. I said, what? We're 2 days for Christmas now. I need a job for Christmas. This is any good thing for me. Money thing too. So anyway, I said, why? Well, they figured because I omitted to say that I spent 2 months in New York, I probably lied on everything else on my resume. The universe helping, so they figured I was a liar, and I said to me it was irrelevant whether I went to Hawaii, to Florida, or to... I was here in Toronto offering my skills, wanting to work, right? Anyhow, I was protected against myself because I was overlooking my own criteria. I was distraught. You see, when we focus on what we want, it doesn't mean that we don't have shaky moments. I want to share these stories to show you the path to change our destiny. It's not a straight line. You know, it's important how we step back, seize the moment, and carry on. So that night, the 23rd of December, I don't drink alcohol. I got drunk. I got sick. I vomited in my bed. The next day, I cleaned up the mess and went home broke. So anyhow, I came back after Christmas. The first week of January, I landed the exact job with all my perfect criteria. Everything was there. I kept doing my everyday thing, you know, because I didn't have anything better. This is what I know that works. It has worked many times in the past. I said I studied this for 40 years, so I had started quite a few years prior to 87. So this job had everything I wanted, right here in Toronto. Now, was I glad that I had not abandoned ship, maybe to move to another city in December? Discouraged. What do you think this would have happened if I had stopped focusing on what I wanted? Maybe started bitching, maybe this is never going to work for me. It's never going to happen. So this was in 87. I want to take you to another story of that sort. In year 2000, at that time, I'm doing business in Europe. And I'm a business partner, and I have completed a project for a few million euros. Our clients were banks, with a bank. And we had offices in different cities. And from Montreal, I was awarded the second half of the contract, which was another few million euros. So I went to Dublin on the Sunday night to spend the week just for the logistics, hire the people and do whatever needed to be done to make this project work. So on Thursday, I'm coming back to Montreal Friday at 5. And on the Thursday, I have a meeting with my client. at the bank. And they say, well, we decided to give this contract to a local supplier from Dublin. Oh, like I'm shocked. And I just leave their office very disappointed. Now, this is worth a lot. I have taken a lot of commitments to hire the people. I've done this international travel for this. I mean, there's a lot involved. Our head office is in Toronto. But I come back, walk back to my hotel. It's 15 minutes away. I'm crying. I'm on the phone with my partners in Toronto. And at that time, I started to seize my moment. You need to seize the moment. For you, it means stepping back, asking a question to someone else or to yourself, but just taking a moment. So I was crying on the phone, just can't believe this. And I said, well, it's not over until it's over. And for me, it meant the next day at 5 when I returned. I had 24 hours in my mind. He says, well, I like the way you think. So what do most people do in a situation like this? Some people would have gone directly to the Irish pub. It was 6 o'clock, get drunk, bitch more hours on the phone about how unfair it is. How can you give me a contract and take it away? How do European people do business? We can't trust these Irish people. Maybe I would have come back to Montreal early, bitching. I don't want this business anymore. This is like, forget it. Have to fire all these people right away Friday morning. So when I got to my hotel room, because I had a few minutes to step back, seize my moment, I said no. You see, focusing on what we want, it's more than just attracting, it's creating what we want. So I asked myself, what do I really want? Daring. We have to be daring. I want this guy to change his mind. And I want him to change his mind before I leave tomorrow. It's less than 24 hours, right? Why? Because I knew that they wanted the work to start right away. So there's just no time to be next week or the next month. It had to be tomorrow. Okay. So since this is what I want, that's what I'm going to focus on. I'm going to trust the perfection of the universe to manifest for the highest good of this client and me. I honestly thought that it was the best thing for him to come with us. But now he had made his decision. He couldn't change his mind just like that without looking like a fool. So I thought, what I need to give him is good reasons to come with us. Maybe I didn't give him enough good reasons. To make him look good in front of his management. You see, when we ask ourselves questions, what do I need to give this client to change his decision? I give you a lot of questions in the book, because when we ask questions, we have the answer inside of us already. The questions you ask, trust you have the answer. You just need, it's waiting to come out. So, during that process of asking myself what he needed, I thought, well, I'm going to drill our expert in the head office in Toronto. I'm sitting in my hotel room in Dublin. Thank God for the change of the time zone change, right? To find out the process, the whole process, what I could find were I could pick and choose the best reason. So I wrote my email while I was talking to the specialist. I was picking and choosing. But what's most important is during that time, when we focus on what we want, whatever it is I never allow myself the luxury to contemplate, what if he doesn't change his mind? Or maybe he's not going to change his mind. Well, he can't really change his mind. He's made us, like he told the other supplier, this is useless. Totally useless when we want to change our destiny. We want to shift things around. So if I trust the universe to manifest its perfection in this, I have to trust it. This is no business of mine to wonder how it's going to happen. I just have to do my best to do my part. So my part is I enlist my physical action, what I think mentally, and I trust the powers to be at work. Now, at midnight, I sent my email, 1 page, and then I went to sleep, and I slept peacefully. Why? Because I didn't have all these scary scenarios in my head. Neither did I have resentment against my client. No, because I knew he was going to change his mind. He was a nice guy. He just didn't have the right information to make a better decision, right? He's a nice guy. Not just an Irishman that's running me around. No, I didn't have these kinds of thoughts. I can't afford this. This is like weeds. So the next morning when I woke up, I wanted the answer right away. Because I'm leaving at 5. But I thought, no, since he's going to change his mind, right? I trust I'm going to give him time to read my email. He comes probably to work at 9. He's a banker. And then he's going to have a meeting with his management. So at 11 we talked. And I don't know who phoned who, but I don't remember really. But the first word he said, we decided to give you the contract. And I said, thank you very much. That's great. Can I come to your office to have a little agreement signed? Oh, no, it's not necessary. Now I like it because I said I could go in the afternoon. No, because they usually go to the pub Friday afternoon. So I said, well, I'm just nearby. My office was like miles away, but the hotels was near. I said, I just can stop by before I go home in Montreal. Okay. I said, it's just going to take 5 minutes. So I came back to Montreal, this time with my little paper sign. Now, can you see that a few simple steps, how it pays off? It has earned us a few million euros. A very good pay by the hour. It really works. Sometimes people think that it's too simple. So I'm going to tell you a lot of stories so that you can grasp how easy it is. So these simple steps for me in my life have literally taken me from rags in my beginnings to riches. So I started with this at the age of 15. I did not like what I was living then. Someone gave me a book. I believe very much in books. This book changed my life. I applied what it was suggesting. I didn't have any other tools, any other means. And it said to influence my subconscious mind and to write down the goals that I wanted. So it said dare to dream. I wanted at 15, I want to go around the world. I want to own my own business. I want to speak 3 languages. I only spoke French then. Well, all these goals manifested for me. I just don't, I'm not here just to, my purpose is not to show off. It's just to show you how powerful it is. Simple, but very powerful. So I know 4 languages. I've owned many businesses. I went around the world more time than I actually wanted to. I had many wonderful jobs that I manifested. I got a little bit cocky sometimes, knowing that I could manifest another better one. I just saved my life more than once with these techniques. I could talk about goal weight, freeing myself from cigarettes. It's just a lot of wonderful little miracles. So in this, I started really, my career I had in sales mostly. I started my early 20s. So I went from one product to another, in one city to another, and daringly. Sometimes I even sold in countries I didn't speak the language. I could have said, I don't speak the language, and I'm going to go there. It's all what you focus on. It's possible. It's all in your head. They don't like French people here. No. If you focus on that, it's a block. And the block, they're only in your head. So often I got the best salesperson trophy. I was always programming for more because I learned from this book you have to be daring. Programming for more, imagining 50% more. sometimes double, and it was working. But how can you not be daring when it's working, right? So my first experience as a representative in my early 20s, that's before I learned English, I was hired by Kodak. I had programmed this job for 2 years because the universe sometimes takes longer than I want to. But what I wanted really, I was in Quebec City now, I don't speak English, imagine this. And I want a job with a multinational company. But I don't want to be a traveling salesperson. I want this in the city of Quebec. I had all my criteria, right? Very, very restrictive. But I got exactly what I wanted. Kodak offered me this. They were interviewing for bilingual people. I dared to apply. I overlooked that little slight criteria. You can't even be interviewed because you don't speak the language. So someone had to translate the question, and they were translating my answer. I had 3 interviews. Now, why did I get hired? Because I dared to believe that it was possible. I kept the vision in my mind. This is the job for me. And no, I don't have any sales experience. Even if you want someone bilingual that sold before, that's okay. I can do it. So when they hired me, they said, you have to go on that training course to Rochester, New York, 6 weeks. They were sending all the representatives across the country for this new product, which was the big thing at the time, a photocopier that's stapled. This is like years ago. Anyway, it was the big front page of the newspaper. Okay, it's like back in time. Yeah, time passes. So anyhow, they said you have to pass this course in English. I was the only French speaking there. I said, okay. So I go to the course. Not in manifesting what you want, it's always the same recipe. Just focus on what you want. Forget the rest. So I focused that I was going to pass the course. I brought my dictionary. During the course, the teacher was saying, I make him nervous. I'm always flipping and searching for words. But halfway through the course, they tell us, you will have, in order to complete this course, do a public speaking presentation in front of the whole class, but as big as this, in English. I said, this can't be true for me. I can hardly read it. There's no way I'm going to do this in English. Oh, yes, no exception. This is part of the curriculum. And I had a shaky moment there. This was my decisive moment. I thought, well, okay. Now, if I did not seize my moment, I could have gone out. There was a lot of partying going on because they were all interesting people from across the country, representative young people, nice guys. But I thought, I'm at a disadvantage here with my language thing, so if I do this, there's no way I'm going to make this happen. Focus. So the footwork, yes, the spiritual work, but the footwork, I needed to do so I memorized my stuff. I wrote it and I memorized it and I practiced. I was my ironing board and practicing. And I passed the course. How do you think I did this? Some other people failed. They didn't take it seriously, or maybe they didn't take the opportunity that were given to them. See, when you want to change your destiny, yes, we can practice miracle, we can do a prayer, but it combines more than one thing, right? So over the years, because I was getting results, I accumulated more and more knowledge on this wonderful power that we have inside of us to create miracles. I think this is kind of wonderful, right? You can make things happen. So the purpose of what I talk about and what I wrote about is really because I want to touch your life to help optimize and maybe give you hope that you can change things and make things happen in your life. So what I teach, I feel it's like a magic wand. Help to change, to think life differently, take hold of these doubts and fears and then make things happen for you. So we create all the time, you know, it's just, whether we're aware of it or not, we create. So we could say we attract, whether we are aware of it or not. It's just when we learn how, we create more of what we want and less of what we don't want. So when we're not aware, we keep more or less attracting sometimes things that we don't want. So us, we are made of our mind, our body, and there's a spirit. And when we want to reverse a decision of a contract in 24 hours, or we want to get a job that is so wonderful that the odds are against us, it is more to our advantage to enlist all these parts of us. If we want to lose weight and we just do the diet, we want a job and we just send the application, and we forgot to put the mental part and the spiritual part. If in doing my list of all the good reasons why for this guy, the banker in Dublin, if I had thought sometimes during the evenings, you know, of bad things about him or fearful thoughts about it's never going to happen, how he's going to change his decision? They already made that. They're not going to have another meeting tomorrow. What am I doing? So all these parts and trusting the higher powers to be, whatever your fate is, it doesn't matter. There is a spiritual part. Whatever you need to increase your faith in whatever you choose to believe. So when you take these three parts together, it makes it very, very powerful to change your destiny. Why work so hard? You know, if you can have a better luck in putting all these things together. So our brain, this is like a garden where you plant seeds. It's like an outside garden, right? You plant tomato seeds, you get tomatoes, and you put the sunlight, and you give it water, make sure you have good produce. In the brain, it's the same thing. So we have to pull out the weeds. The weeds are our doubts, our fears, the negative suggestions from others, or the ones that we have inside of ourselves. So we plant in there, repeat planting in there what we want. As much planting as you need. I don't know how many seeds you have, weeds you have in your garden. You're the one who knows how much cleaning up you need to do. So, you know, when people take vitamins, anyone here take vitamins? If you take it once a year, does it have any effect? Once a month? This is the same thing with what we put here. It's the regularity, it's the consistency. We want the results. When we want to change what's in there, replace it with something new, we have to do it regularly. Once in a while, it's not going to do it. Definitely not. If your fear level is high or you're influenced by the environment. You know, like if you have a deadly disease or something, and everybody and the doctors and everybody's telling you something, the fear is high. You have to do more work in order to raise your faith level. So I'm not here tonight to tell you to stop anything, quit your job or your treatment or whatever diet you decide to follow or not follow. It's not the purpose. What I want to stress is that whatever path you're on is very personal. It's all good. But thinking, your mind is always a very important part of it.